Okay, here we go. So today is Saturday. It's May the 9th, 2026, and this is this is the third time recording this. Goodness, the first time, oh, it came out so fluidly. I was so happy with it, and then I realized that the audio recording was the one from another video, and I don't know how that happened. So I think it was like later on that day. I could still remember most of what I recorded. So I tried another recording, and it came out much to my surprise and much to my delight. It came out rather fluid again, and and then I hit. I think I hit. There's like an option to finish, and I think I hit that before the audio was fully uploaded. So anyway, so that was gone, and I had to go to work, and then a couple days went past, and here I am, and I was thinking, you know what, maybe I should try this again. I'll give it the old college, the old college try, the old college third try, and yeah, and we'll see if I can get it out. Only because I found the information that was shared before to be very beneficial. Like information I really could have used and benefited from many years ago. And so it's my pleasure to share, but I can't promise that I'll be able to match what I recorded before, um, as yeah, much of it is it's lost on me, but I'm going to do my best here. So anyway, so um, I did the recording. I just goodness, I think that was like 3 or 4 days ago, and that was called "Thoughts on the Reality of Feeling Stuck." And first thing I want to say is there's somebody posted a comment, and they basically said, "This is me summarizing," but they virtually just said like, "To keep going, things get better." It was a comment of encouragement, and to that person, I want to say thank you so much for that comment and for that encouragement. And I find with social media and with comment threads, they can be highly beneficial. Like I'm all about people examining, you know, the concepts and the thoughts and the beliefs that they have, and you know, um, um, like sifting through like what is rooted in truth and what's contaminated with lies, and and I'm all about people encouraging each other. And you know um if somebody's doing something and it's not right, like I believe those things should be addressed, they should be pointed out, but there's a proper way to do it, like where you can actually communicate and just say, hey, like this isn't right, or like that comment that you made there, I don't fully agree with that, and I would say it's more slanted this way or slanted that way. But what I don't agree with is when social media or these comment threads are used to vent any hate, or like used to attack somebody, or to purposely try to suppress someone, or censor like them from speaking or exercise authority over them. I'm not in agreement with those things. So, anyways, I was quite happy and quite pleased to see that comment, and yeah, so I want to make sure I acknowledged you, and acknowledge like the just the proper conduct, you know, to growth and to sharing and to virtually conversing. But anyway, so um, let's go with this. So the thoughts on the reality of feeling stuck. So I want to do. I called it a follow up, but it's more or less kind of like an expansion of it. Um, and I had an example, and I actually like. Thankfully, I can remember it right now. So this is an example of when I had a thought of uh, um, the reality of feeling stuck many years ago, and then oh goodness, like my whole world changed. Exponentially. And I ended up getting a job at a place where I didn't think I would get a job, and um, you know, pursuing. That's when I started pursuing writing and taking it very seriously, and continuing with it every day, and then doing the supportive, work, uh, if you will, in terms of like in the past I couldn't speak. I stuttered, and oh goodness, I really struggled with articulating my thoughts, and especially with like the deeper abstract thoughts. I had a lack of vocabulary, but also a lack of patience, and I would get very frustrated. And then what would come out of me would just be gobbledygook, and um, and then I would see that, and I'd get very frustrated and feel hopeless. And anyways, so I just learned to really focus, like to focus my time on increasing like the areas where I lacked, focusing on them, and just increasing, whether it just be minute forward movements, or whether I was taking leaps and bounds. It didn't matter as long as it was like forward motion and it was always going towards the vision. And anyways, so this example though, this is, oh goodness, I can remember it was in a beer store parking lot. I can't remember if this was like a man I went to I used to go to primary school with. So I hadn't seen him in many, many years, and then I bumped into him again. And so it was at the beer store parking lot, but I can't remember if he or I were going to the beer store or not. But anyways, he was driving a truck, and I remember a really nice truck too. I remember he got out of his vehicle. We had like our quick highs and buys, and um, but I had this thought of, and I wouldn't have labeled it jealousy at that time because I didn't know that I had jealousy inside of me. Um, but I remember thinking, oh goodness, like look at the truck he's driving, and he's uh, like his father is a brilliant man who's done some really wonderful things for a corporation, and he moved up the corporate ladder rather quickly, and not surprisingly to anybody, like a very, very brilliant man, and very studious as well. Like he was a very uh goodness, what do they call personalities? Like, they call them personalities like this. They call them or attitudes like this, like a corporate man. There's a specific term. I can't recall it in this moment, but anyways, I definitely wouldn't be surprised. He's a really wonderful guy too. But I remember thinking about his son, thinking, that's the reason why his son got into that place. And this is like a really desirable place to get into with really high salary levels, et cetera, et cetera. And and I remember thinking, oh goodness, like so his father gets him in there. I'm positive his father would have been like the main influence, like as to why he got in there. And then you know, then he gets in there, and now he's making I don't know, above average money, and so now he becomes more desirable to women, because women that are looking to settle down and get married, like that's the one thing, or one of the main things they're going to look at is you know uh, the earning potential of the guy. And so then they're going to ingratiate themselves to him. I wouldn't have used that term back then, but they're going to throw themselves at him, and then it's going to be easier for him. He's going to feel more calm and confident because women are throwing themselves at him, and and then he's going to get married, and buy a house, and then he's going to be able to start a family, and oh, like, well, why can't I catch a break? Why can't I this? Why can't I that? So I was very like self-pitying and very like self-focused. I didn't, and so anyways, but in that moment, like literally in that moment in that parking lot, um, I had an epiphany. It hit me suddenly and all at once, and I remember thinking, "Wait a second. Why are you comparing yourself to him? Like, you were fine a moment ago, and then you seen a guy that you went to primary school, like, we were actually really close friends in primary school, um, and instead of being happy to, like, touch base with somebody you haven't seen in many years, and also in being happy to see somebody doing really well, um, and to hear that they're doing well in terms of like financially well, in terms of we're just say adulting for lack of a better word. um Instead, I'm feeling bad about my own life, and I'm making all these wild assumptions about things that are going on in his life, yet none of this makes any sense. So in that moment I felt stuck, and not only stuck, like meaning I felt like there's no way my life can move forward. Everything's gonna remain the same. But I also felt like this unseen distance between him and I, whereas like I felt like this unseen standard where like much like a teeter totter is it on the fulcrum, all of a sudden he's being lifted up and I'm being lowered, and so then he's looking down his nose at me when that wasn't there's no actuality of that in our conversation at all. He just treated me the same way he's always treated me. So just rather nice person. Um, but I was feeling this way, and I remember thinking, "Okay, these feelings are tagged to a thought that I had, and that thought is much like rolling a snowball that you've created, rolling it down a hill. It builds momentum, and it gets bigger and bigger and heavier and heavier. And let's go right back to the beginning of this. Why am I comparing myself to him? And then all of a sudden, this like stark reality or stark actuality played out before me, and I was thinking, you say you always want to do A, B, C, D, and E. You say you want to work at this place and do this, but you don't. Like every time you always start off strong, and then you peter away. You always have excuses, and you allow all these other what I would call distractions to become priorities in your life, and then you seem to have all these regrets, and that's where I think these regrets are being channeled through, like this envy or this jealousy of this other person. When in actuality, I'm not. I have to be accountable for my actions. I have to be accountable for like the things that I'm doing. And if I honestly sit here, I can say that I haven't been um, doing the best I can to position myself in a more advantageous position or a better position, or even just to position myself in like the place where I say I desire to be. So anyway, so that was that was that, and that's an example of the power of our thoughts, and also like the power of or the power of my thoughts and the power of my imagination. And so anyway, so the reason why I bring this up um, is like the other day when I was sitting in the quiet pod and I was doing my writing, I had a thought of, oh goodness, it's been almost like we're coming into the summer months, and last summer is when I went through the crisis situation of impoverishment, and um, in the crisis situation of being unhoused. And right now it's a year later, and I feel like I don't have much saved. I feel like, my situation hasn't really progressed. Because in my mind, I was thinking about, oh, I'd like to own my own house. I would like to be doing this. I'd like to be doing that. So these are wonderful, wonderful goals, and they're achievable, most certainly. But right now, I'm just not currently in a position to afford a house or to afford a mortgage. I'm in a position where I'm making minimum wage, so and working part-time hours. So in terms of like saving money, it's going to be a little more difficult. And so anyhow, um, so I began um, thinking in that direction. I was thinking the reason why I'm feeling stuck is because I have like a very unfair comparison, and it's a very inaccurate comparison. So I'm comparing myself to something that might be like 3 or 4 or 5 rungs up the ladder or steps up the staircase. And it's wise though for me to understand that learning lesson, that if I start thinking that way, in that comparison, there's like a void that opens up, and it's like I can step into it and fall, and and you keep falling, and it feels hopeless. It feels like you're on your way to hit, you know, the proverbial rock bottom. When in reality, I paused and I thought, wait a second, look at all these wonderful things that you have. Like, you have a job right now where it was so difficult to get a job, especially after having like such a long lapse in employment. I chose to have that lapse in employment to pursue writing and to give my all to it. I think that's a wonderful decision, and with it comes a big risk. And this is just part of that risk. It's part of the effect of that risk. Um, and I don't regret it at all. Like it was wonderful. And there's been a lot of productivity, and I'm definitely not the greatest writer out there, and I'm definitely haven't produced the greatest works out there, but my intent was pure and my passion is there. So these are wonderful things. And I have the vision. Having the vision is one of the most important and foundational things that you need. Otherwise, you feel like you're moving in all these different directions. You're moving quicker and quicker, but you don't know if you're going to run off the edge of a cliff. You don't know if you're going to end up where you desire to be, or if you're going to have to restart all over again, which is a very difficult proposition because once you've moved so far in one direction, sometimes that makes it very difficult for you to even want to entertain the thought of restarting. So then you know become stuck on that trajectory. And so I was thinking about that, and I was thinking it's wise to think about like to be grateful for the things you do have. You've like somebody went out of their way because they saw potential in you to to ask you, like to approach you for a job, and then they hired you, and then you just had your performance review, and it was sparkling, it's wonderful, but you're there, you're able to like now you have something on your resume to fill in that gap, the work gap, but you also have a reference, but you also have an opportunity like every time you go to work to be a blessing to your boss, to figure out and learn how to be the best worker possible. And if I ever desire to be a supervisor, then first and foremost, I need to learn how to be like the best person to be supervised. Um, you're learning like a lot of skills like showing up early and being punctual, like those are wonderful skills to develop. Learning to listen and then ask questions and actively listen and hear what like your supervisor is saying, so you get a clear understanding of their expectations. That's a skill that's highly transferable. Learning to work as a team and to put the needs of the team in the business ahead of your own. Those are wonderful skills. There's just a whole bunch of wonderful things that are going on right now. And although the finances are not building up, I have to remember I'm not really making that much money right now, and I'm not working that many hours. So those things can be changed, but they're going to be changed in their time. So I have to be patient, but most importantly, I need to be grateful. And when I started thinking that way, all of a sudden it was like I was flushed with a different emotion, and that was of gratitude. And then that feeling of being stuck, it dissipated. It evaporated rather quickly, and I was thinking, this is life, and life is moving quickly. I don't want to squander or waste any time, feeling sorry for myself or having like thoughts that are tied into a reality that is not in alignment with the actuality, a reality that maybe is desired, but I'm not there yet. It's not an opportunity for me as of yet, but in the future it can be. And if this is something that I desire, then I need to sit down and strategize and like put up a game plan, get the vision, but then also get the knowledge for each corresponding step, and then start working towards that vision. Like there's no time to waste or squander. Squander, I think, is a better word. To squander any time or any thoughts or any of this beautiful life on feelings um, that are evoked from false comparisons. So, or faulty comparisons. Anyways, I'm looking at the time. It's already 18 minutes. I think I'm going to conclude this. We're going to see if you hear this video, it's because it worked, and I resolved the issue of whatever it was that was causing the former videos to not upload or to not, sorry, audio to not take.